Let's talk about something that almost everyone feels, but few know how to fix. It's about money, but not in the way you might think. We're not talking about stock tips or get-rich-quick schemes. We're talking about a complete shift in your mindset, about rewiring the way you see wealth to unlock a path that's been there all along. So, does this feel familiar? You work hard, you're smart, but you feel like you're on a treadmill, just running faster and faster, but never actually getting anywhere. That feeling, it's not your fault. It's a symptom of a system, a trap, that most of us are in without even realizing it. And yeah, this trap has a name. We call it the rat race. Get up, go to work, pay the bills. Get up, go to work, pay the bills. It's this endless loop, but what really keeps the wheels spinning? It's not just your job or your expenses. It's two powerful, primal emotions that money brings out in all of us. Here they are. It's a 1-2 punch. First comes the fear of not having enough, of not being able to pay your bills. That fear gets you out of bed and to work every single day. But then you get the paycheck. And that's when greed, or let's just call it desire, kicks in. You start picturing all the cool things you can buy. And that pattern, work from fear, spend from desire, locks you right back into the cycle. So if fear and desire are the engine of this trap, how in the world do you escape? Well, it all starts with understanding that there are really only two ways to think about money. And which path you take, that's decided long before you ever get a job. I mean, think about it. When did you ever have a class in school called Money 101? You probably didn't. We learn about money at home, from our family, from our environment. And what we learn usually falls into one of two very, very different stories. And here is the fork in the road. It's a huge difference, right? One story says the goal is to become a valuable employee, a cog in a big machine. The other story says the goal is to own the machine itself. Both start with study hard, but they lead to completely different worlds. This mindset even shows up in the simple words we use every day. Saying, "I can't afford it," is like a switch that turns your brain off. End of story. But asking, "How can I afford it?" Well, that's a starting pistol. It forces your brain to wake up, to get creative, and to start looking for solutions instead of roadblocks. All right, so these two ways of thinking, these two paths, they're guided by one single, incredibly powerful rule. If you can just grasp this one idea, everything else about money starts to make sense. This is the bedrock of building wealth. And here's the part that really matters. It has almost nothing to do with how big your paycheck is. You could be making millions and still be broke. The only thing you really need to know to build wealth is the difference between an asset and a liability. That's it. That's the whole game. So what's an asset? It's simple. It's anything that makes you money. It's like a little money tree in your backyard. It could be a rental property that pays you rent each month, or stocks that pay you dividends. Cash is flowing to you. And a liability? You guessed it, it's the exact opposite. A liability is a money vacuum. It constantly sucks cash out of your pocket. Think about your car payment, your credit card debt, even the big house you live in, with its mortgage and taxes and repairs. Money is flowing away from you. And this quote just nails it. This is the fundamental mistake. Most people spend their lives buying things they think are assets, like a fancy car or a bigger house, but are actually liabilities draining their bank accounts. The rich, on the other hand, just focus on one thing, buying more and more true income-producing assets. Okay, but wait, if it's really that simple, why isn't everybody wealthy? Because knowing the rules is one thing, but playing the game is another. Building wealth isn't just about math. It's about psychology. It's an inner game. And you have to understand this. Getting rich often involves taking risks, being optimistic, and playing offense. But staying rich, that's a whole different ballgame. That's about survival. It's about playing defense. Yeah, staying rich requires a different skill set entirely. It takes frugality, so that you don't just spend more every time you make more. It takes humility to realize that your success might have involved some luck, and that luck can run out. And believe it or not, it takes a healthy dose of fear, just enough to keep you from making one stupid, reckless bet that could wipe you out completely. So if it's not about being a genius investor who's never wrong, what's the real secret weapon? It's something way less glamorous than a hot stock pick, but it is infinitely more powerful. It's time. It's the slow, steady, unstoppable magic of compounding.
All right, look at this number, 90%. Just let that sink in for a second. What in a world could this refer to? Well, it's connected to maybe the most famous investor alive, Warren Buffett. And it's the key to everything.
This is just mind-blowing, isn't it? The vast majority of Warren Buffett's fortune was built after he was old enough for senior discounts. It's not because he suddenly became a better investor in his 60s. It's because the small seeds he planted decades ago finally had enough time to grow into giant redwood trees. That's compounding. It's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market. So we get it now. We see the trap, we understand the mindset shift, and we know the psychological game we have to play. That brings us to the big question. Where do you begin? What's the very first, most important step you can take today? And it's probably not what you're thinking. It's not about buying a stock or a piece of real estate. The first and by far the most important investment you can ever make is in yourself, in your own financial education. You have to learn the rules of the game before you can ever hope to win it. So here's your game plan, 4 simple steps. First, make a conscious choice about your mindset. Are you going to work for money or are you going to have money work for you? Second, get educated. I mean, really, truly master the difference between an asset and a liability until it's second nature. Third, learn to control your emotions. Don't let fear and greed push you around. And fourth, just start. Start small. Buy one tiny asset. The action is more important than the amount. And in the end, it all comes down to this. Your mind is your single greatest asset. It's the one thing that can create unbelievable wealth or keep you stuck in the rat race forever. So the real question you have to ask yourself is, how are you investing in it?